met to the president with social welfare association, and I met with Junior Benjamin.
Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare, side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice.
I'll go cross any ocean to find it. Won't let no mountain get in the way. Hey. Come cross the water, been through the fire. I know that my heart will show me the way. Everywhere you turn, you see people smiling. We don't see no creed and race. I don't want nobody tell me about leaving. We fight for a thing and this is the place. Take me home. Take me home. Take me to a place where my heart don't feel no pain. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home. Well, everybody's shouting out right there. It's about rhythm deep down inside there. And if you're looking for me, you go find me right there, right there. I repeat the bim 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 right there. It's about rhythm deep down inside there. Take me home, take you home, take me home. Wake me up before I fall asleep. Take me to a place where lovers meet. Marry me to the heart of water spray. So if I ever leave, I'm bound to come again. All around is fire and flames. Oh, this world is so crazy, yes. Protect we island, Father, we pray. Until the very end of we days. Take me home. Take me home. Take me to a place where
Wake up, rise up,
It's the Net Radio Breakfast Show, bringing you the energy, music, and vibes to start your day right.
It's about rhythm deep down inside there. And if you're looking for me, you'll go find it. Right there, right there. I will be the bim 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 right there. It's about rhythm deep down inside.
Blessed good morning to each and everybody.
Whoa, 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 yeah. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Whoa, whoa.
And of course, we welcome you on this wet and wonderful Friday. And of course, the skies may be gray, but we are bringing the sunshine right through your speakers. Whether you're now drinking our first cup of coffee, or you're dodging puddles, or maybe you're now waking up. Slow right here. We're here to kick off your Friday in fine style. By God's grace, we thank you for being here with us today. This is New Era TT Radio. And of course, this is the Breakfast Show.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The Breakfast Show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line. Let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The Breakfast Show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you sing. Grab your double or your morning drink.
All right, so good morning, and welcome to the Breakfast Show on this Friday morning in Trinidad and Tobago. I know it's a little rainy outside. Even though in Arima, you still see the sun trying its best to peek through. And you're seeing a little bit of blue and a rainbow, actually, because, I had to walk down the road. But, it's still going to be a little rainy, at least for the first part of the day. So be careful wherever you are. And if you're on your commute, well, we're going to keep you company. And if you're home, we're still going to keep you company, too. So welcome to all of our listeners and viewers, wherever you are in Trinidad and Tobago, up the Caribbean, and of course, across the planet, wherever you are. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or M&E TV, or listening to us on TuneIn or smart devices, welcome. Let me say a special good morning to Wendell, Stephen, and of course, my co-host, and of course, CJ, who's sitting in for Sir Charles this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, CJ. And of course, welcome everybody. I see Wendell, like you're a little noisy where you are, but go ahead now, say good morning.
Yeah, it is noisy because my apologies. I didn't expect to be where I am at this hour of the morning. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, CJ. And I was hearing a strange voice. And good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe, including those in New York.
Yep.
I want another line. You would not believe it. I did not plan this, but guess what? So be it.
Yeah. Gotta move with what.
I was like a segment camera.
But in those places, they're very careful about what you do with your camera. So
yeah, but I'm far away from those people right now. But I'm in an extremely long line. So my 2 hours might actually be spent on this line.
Oh, okay.
But it's good to be in the land of the living. For those who would have lost their lives, condolences, and those who are celebrating birthdays today. Today, of course, is a Black Friday, isn't it?
It is a Black Friday, yes.
So don't cross under any ladders, and don't let any black cats, the same cats that we spoke about yesterday, don't let them cross in front of you either. Right? Walk in your door backwards, sprinkle some rice. What else is it? Sweep it up, okay, bro.
Well, the amount of superstitions you just running through there.
Wait, hold on, let me take notes because I ain't too sure what.
There's a whole list of things to do. It's best you just don't leave the house today.
Did I mention walking your door backwards?
Walking in your door backwards? No, I've not done that.
After midnight? You've never heard that one?
I've heard it. I've never done it.
You've never done it?
No.
I used to unconsciously do that for one.
Did you ever walk through your door backwards after midnight?
Actually, I have.
Or somebody was following you?
Well, not that. My grandmother actually was big on certain superstitions. So she used to ensure that, especially when we come in the house after hours, sometimes she sit down right in the little rocking chair and you walk in the house and she was, hey, turn around.
Make sure you bring nothing.
Yeah. Make sure you ain't bring nothing over. How they say, don't jump in the house after hours.
You know, I don't pick from a fruit tree after 6 o'clock in the evening. You must never pick fruits after 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I hear that one as well. Also, here, don't open an umbrella in the house after 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Don't open an umbrella in the house, period.
Yeah. They don't open it, yeah. Leave it outside. The superstitions and every culture has them, huh? Every culture has some version.
Trinidad has adopted all these cultures. You understand? We adopt a lot of cultures. So
but we do have a culture on this show of going to good news at this point, so let's get into some good news for this morning.
To the north side and the countryside of Tobago is one of the hardest things on this island. So today we're gonna ease some of their burdens. Linked up with the D's luxury car rental family, and we are provided 2 7-seaters, a SUV and a wagon, providing free transport to their homes with refreshments. How often do most of us pass and see the scores of people here waiting in the hot sun? Sometimes the elderly in a mountain, or even the school children waiting for many hours. Not here to cast any blame, but we just want to show simple ways that we could all come together and make a huge impact. We have charged all the vehicles at everybody.
Yeah? Let's jump in one. Kindness that we had.
Everybody participate.
All are going on that side.
All the bags, everything inside.
You're not a pay to go up the road, come. You're not a pay to go up the road today. You're going home free today. Yeah. You're going home free today.
Seeing some of their reactions, it was like it was too good to be true. And a lot of them were so skeptical. Take a listen to this call the day after.
So when we come up and me hear them, I see the car line up, me say something I go on. I mean, them say, space side, they say go in space side, they go in different places and it's a free thing to be and whatever. Is that Jimmy? Yeah, when me no want for you nothing better. Yeah, come in. I said it's me and my sister. Not free today. We can drive out to the SUV today.
But this statement, literally when God can come, he sends a man, is so true. Because when you hear some of their statements, like literally people just come at the tongue to see if they get paid and get paid, or people literally saving their last to reach home, this is a testament to show exactly what is possible to come from us. Even stories about the public transportation might not be there every day. It just goes to show that a little could definitely go a long way. So today we're carrying them home in luxury, cold AC and refreshments. Just showing individuals once again that we care and we understand some of their pain. Like we always say, no one is better than anyone, and we packed up and we're on the road to carry everybody home safely.
Picked up the cars and then give them away to families in need or something. Yeah, so that's all we are. So these little team there.
And when we said refreshments, we definitely meant it. Everyone's provided drinks and something to eat whilst traversing safely to their home. Glimmer of hope that we are able to provide to these individuals, showing that people actually care, is priceless. Just look at the smiles provided on these individuals' face.
Thank you, Dee.
Alright, have a good day. Reach home safe.
I am home. I'm really excited. Bill to donate. Mr. James brought me home and I'm feeling so proud. At first I was kind of scared because we're not accustomed to this thing in Tobago. But I tell you, it was a wonderful evening and I must say thanks to Mr. James and Bill to donate. May God continue to bless and keep you all.
Nice and simple.
So that footage was by Build to Donate, whom you can follow on Instagram and TikTok, etc. So I thought that would be our good news for this morning. You know,
Okay, I
Trinidadians
don't
eat
know
big
that.
one.
I don't know that blogger at all.
Yeah. Just doing some good stuff for other citizens in this space called Trinidad and Tobago. And I thought that was some really good news on this Friday morning, you know, when some people are battling with rain and floods, and some people are anxious if rain is going to fall. I know some people are going to be anxious today whether more rain is going to fall. Are they going to continue to be flooded out, or are they on the brink of being flooded? It's a very anxious time for some people. Of course, it's that the story of the weather is basically on the front page of all of the daily newspapers this morning. So we'll get into that shortly. That was our good news for today, and let me officially end it off because, you know, Wendell said you have to end off your segment.
Yeah. Once again, my apologies for the noise you might be hearing around, right? Because I can't help it. I can't avoid it. A lot of talkative people in this line. I thought I might have been the only person talking, but there are lots of talkative people in this line. You're talking languages I don't understand. So anyway, let me greet the folks on the chat so far for the morning. First, the person who came in first this morning is Lennox Transfer. Said, good morning, gentlemen. Just got in from work. Hope I can get up and listen to your conversation. And he messaged us at 12:50 a.m. All right. And he is from Baltimore, of course. Suzanne Jessup came in after that at 2:34. Said, good morning. Happy Father's Day, St. Charles. Richard Wender, love always from Suzanne. You know, please forget this weekend is Father's Day.
Yeah, it is Father's Day this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all. Don't forget.
So happy Father's Day to CJ, you are father too?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're waiting on my. Let's St. Charles bug you down. Let him have you working. All there. So your oats.
See, when I go and bring a grandson or a granddaughter for him.
And you can go right after the show. You will be very popular after today.
CJ saying you'll be very popular after the show.
God is good. He's put in circumstances to thrive.
Suzanne, the weekend has begun, people. The weekend has begun. Thanks for reminding me, Suzanne. And Richard plays this weekend. So go, people, enjoy Married and Mischievous. It's going to be epic. Thanks so much for your endorsement, Suzanne. And that's certainly a word that many people have used to describe Married and Mischievous, which is on tomorrow and Sunday at Cipriani College. And of course, Sunday is Father's Day. So you can bring your father to this one. He will, as I said, you will become the favorite child of them all for bringing him to the theater.
For sure. Boy BDC came up next, Richard. He says, good morning. Suzanne sent a lot of messages.
Okay.
Boy BDC says, good morning, everyone. It is raining, but it's a good day to plant underground crops. Okay, so Boy giving some advice. Brennan Smith says, good morning. He's in Tobago, Tobago, wet and windy. You see, I'm still going to do my 3 miles walk. Slick Money Grip says, good morning, gentlemen. Margaret Thomas raised her hand. Wendy and James and says, have a very cool and rainy weekend. That was going to be, inshallah. Sherwin Kerr from Arima. And Wendell Juliet is listening this morning. Well, Sherwin, I thought you and Juliet followed. We all thought so.
Yeah, good morning to Sherwin and Juliet.
Mm-hmm. So Juliet carries Sherwin to see the play, right? For his Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, right? Remember that. Allister Hart, good morning, guys, from San Fernando. Robert Taylor from Punalina Beach in Florida, of course. Eva Smith from San Fernando. Josie Richardson, Marlon Motley from North Baltimore. CJ from New York, of course. CJ, who knows? What's going to happen? Actually, I won't be. Good morning, gentlemen from Odell Guy. Cheryl Steele also says good morning from Carrier. Ian Ramsey from Fort Lauderdale, Carrier Guevarro from Central, Norris Ferguson from Arriba, David Wells from Dingamartin, Joyce Phillip, Rena Voodoo Jennings from Kitty Valley, Ingrid from Tucson, Arizona, and Gavin Frank from Powder Magazine. Just a great guy. Morning the execution of our national anthem.
Good morning, Ingrid.
Where was I? I was reading Just a Great Guy. Rewarding you to all of the premier breakfast show in the Caribbean and especially overseas. You are a lifeline. Indeed, we are. Thank you very much. Just a great guy. Carol S. says, pleasant morning to you. That's a new name. Kathy Ann Charles, of course. Good morning, people.
Kathy Ann.
Rob Boxleaker. Kathy Ann, I won't be there, but hopefully the others will be there. Right? Be safe out there. Ann Noel says, good morning from Oshawa, Ontario. Felix Kazoo, Ozzy Molino, Phil Cordis, who has a wonderful daughter called Stacey Ann from Brazil Village. I know. Sorry, don't look at me this morning. I'll have to take off my camera at some point in time because it can be distinct. Because of how I'm holding the phone, there are lights above my head. So I can't do anything about the lights above me. I can do something about how I hold the camera.
Board as well. So we have good morning coming out from Ron. Ron is telling us good morning. Ron Captain, good morning to you. Coming out from New Jersey, actually. Sending in good morning greetings. We also have good morning from Mr. Frank.
Oh, sorry. You're talking so serious. Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Good morning to you, Frank. Locked and listening. To Mr. Brampton. Good morning to you as well. Also to Mr. Collins. Good morning to you as well. Sending us morning greetings. To Zena. Wishing us good morning.
Zena, is it?
Zena.
We don't call Zena, just call him the buffalo. We don't greet Zena in.
Well,
let her call him the buff. She liked the buff man, you know.
She liked
the buff. Us.
Well,
at least us. We can't buff nobody else.
I see now you're afraid to play.
All of a sudden now I'm speeding. It's almost like I'm running. Anyway, let me also greet Doreen Clare, Diane Payne, Hilary Zan, Ron DeSantis Jr., Keith Clark, DL, Valerie Mendoza, Nasa Mohammed, Ambrose Blah, Ram Naresh, Trini Gets Fit, Pariah Hayatali. Hi, Miss Hayatali, good morning. Thanks for the Father's Day greeting. And Kazim Mohammed. Those are all our people online. Good morning. Hi. Okay. Looks like there's hope inside of this place.
I'm still scrolling through to make sure everybody came up. I've now reached Kazim Mohammed because you zoomed through those last few ones there, Wendell.
Yeah, Michael Robinson also says good morning, and Donna Ramluchan, along with Richard Jemmett.
All right, so that's it for greeting all of the people who sent comments. And of course, you can send your comments via Facebook and YouTube, and you can send it via WhatsApp to 281-1315 on the morning show, on the breakfast show this morning. And of course, we appreciate all of you joining us this morning, whether you're watching us on TV or watching us on the streams on Facebook and YouTube, or listening to us on TuneIn, or wherever you're watching or listening to us from. We appreciate you. We know you have a choice of what you do with your mornings and whom you listen to, and we're glad you chose us. So what's the bacchanal? Well, Wendell, there is a bacchanal going on in the PNM. Well, there's always a bacchanal going on in the PNM. They just hide it well.
There's always a bacchanal going on in the PNM. What happened now?
No, did you see that letter I sent yesterday concerning that was sent to my mailbox, and that was addressed to Foster Cummings as General Secretary? You didn't read it?
I didn't see that.
Right,
no,
but I will take great pleasure in reading it for you.
Okay.
So it's apparent. I don't know if it's the change makers, because remember we met up we met a possible change maker by the rum box, and we told him that he could come on the show and we wanted to interview one of the change makers, and we just leave them shrouded in blackness so you can't see just and change their voice a little bit and say change maker at the bottom, and we could do an interview with them about the bacchanal they're causing on the sidelines of the PNM, whom Penelope Beckers-Robinson roundly buffed in her fiery speech on the platform the other night. Was it night? I guess it was night. When she said, show your face. That one, she said, show your face. Show the face. Well, there was apparently a letter sent to Foster Cummings. Now, let me put a caveat and say, I don't know how real this is, but it came to my mail. So apparently it's a letter addressed to Foster Cummings, their General Secretary. In accordance with Regulation 43B of the Constitution of the People's National Movement, which states a special meeting shall be called at any time by the General Secretary, B, on written request signed by 15 members, we, the undersigned, hereby formally request a special meeting of the General Council to be held on Monday, the 16th of June, 2025 at 5 p.m. at Badizé House. We further wish to draw to your attention Article 23, Reserve Powers and Interpretation, which states the General Council shall have the power to determine all matters on which this Constitution and any standing orders or rules or regulations made hereunder are silent, or from which ambiguity or difficulty of interpretation or otherwise arises, and its decision on any such matter shall be final for all purposes whatever, except as may otherwise be provided in this Constitution. Sounds very legalistic. Additionally, we reference Article 14, the legislative group, which outlines that the legislative group shall be represented on the General Council by one representative for A, each House of Parliament, B, each city or borough corporation, C, each regional corporation, D, the Tobago House of Assembly, and E, elected by and at the annual conference of the legislative group. The purpose of this requested meeting is to discuss urgent matters relating to party activities, particularly concerning the recent Special General Council meeting on the 6th of May, 2025, convened to elect a chairman and vice chairman. At that meeting, then former Senator Dr. Amory Brown and former Member of Parliament Mr. Roger Monroe participated. However, their legitimacy to participate is in question. In the case of Dr. Brown, following the dissolution of Parliament and the subsequent general elections, the party no longer had any senators sworn in at that present time. As such, Dr. Brown was no longer a senator in accordance with our country's constitution at the time of the meeting, making his participation highly questionable. With respect to Mr. Monroe, Article 14.2b of the PNM Constitution says all persons approved by the Central Executive as the movement's candidates for elections for the House of Representatives, the Tobago House of Assembly, the City, Borough, and Regional Corporation, Section 47, any such person shall automatically cease to be a member if he is defeated in the election. Mr. Monroe's participation in that meeting was diametrically opposed to Article 14.2.8. Additionally, the records reflect that at the annual general meeting of the legislative group held on the 11th of September 2024, the representative elected to represent the House of Representatives was Ms. Lisa Morris Julian, deceased, and no subsequent meeting was held to elect a replacement. The General Council is seeking clarification on these matters as the participation of both Mr. Monroe and Dr. Brown has introduced ambiguity and has in effect tarnished the party's governance process. In light of this, we submit that the meeting and its decisions should be set aside. We further ask the General Council to set an appropriate date for the completion of the matters that have been voided due to their participation to ensure compliance with the party's constitution and to uphold procedural integrity. Respectfully submitted, and well, I can't give already 15.
It's kind of obvious it was written by someone with a legal background, one, but they're assuming because of the names they call, that they know who they vote for. As far as I know, nobody knows who voted for who.
Well, they're saying in that letter, whoever the signatories were and whoever drafted the letter, and if this letter is real, I put in all of these points, that their mere participation, regardless of who they voted for, voided the process because they weren't constitutionally enabled to be a participant. That's their argument.
Is this, so I'm assuming this was part of the General Council and was there? The letter writer.
I can't answer
No,
that
I know, that's what I say. I'm assuming that they are part of the General Council and that they were there.
Yeah.
And that, well, did they object to it then? Because to me, that was the place and time to do
basically, they're saying that whoever was elected as chairman and vice chairman, it's now voided in their minds. It should be voided.
Well, everything voided, if you know what I mean. Because we have all the positions open up for election in a week.
On the 22nd of June.
Yeah. And the person who was elected chairman, who was interim chairman, Nayan Gasvidoli, is not contesting that position. And the person who was elected vice chairman, Colin, is also not contesting any position.
But is it at that meeting in May, Wendell, is when they set the date for the 22nd of June?
Yes.
So are they saying that all of those decisions are voided?
Well, I don't know if that's it. I didn't gather that from what you read.
No, they didn't mention that, but generally they're saying, my interpretation of that letter is that they're saying all of the decisions made at that meeting have to be procedurally correct, and they're not sure that it's procedurally correct.
I don't know. I mean, but the letter had spaces for signatures without signatures, right?
15 signatures, yes.
Right, but they didn't put who were the signatories, right?
I didn't get who the signatories were. I just got a draft of the letter.
Yeah. I remember seeing it though. I remember seeing it, but they were just lines. They were just lines.
Yeah, I don't know who the 15 people that were that signed. I am assuming that 15 people signed.
Yeah. And they asking for a meeting on this Monday. But for what purpose?
Monday.
To prevent the election?
The Monday the 16th.
Right, that's Monday coming.
Yeah.
Isn't it the intention is that the election should be stopped?
I don't know.
I try to read the mind of whoever it is. What is the purpose behind what they do?
Yes, I am not sure, but all my interest was a little pain and bacchanal, and I felt the need to read it.
Oh, yes. Well, it is an extension of whatever risk they have with it, whoever they call it themselves change makers.
You think it's kind of related to the change makers argument?
Yeah. That kind of obvious. But it's healthy democracy. You understand? It's healthy democracy.
Well, the Constitution always rules the rules, so to speak, and you have to follow what the lines are. But the time has come to go through the headlines, and of course, then we could interact with you by taking some of your calls before we go to the morning pool. So I will start. Let me start with the headlines for this morning. I will start with the Daily Express, and of course, the Express for this morning. Just a second. Hold up. Right. Yeah, the Express for this morning. Right, so the Express for this morning. Do your duty, that's the headline. As thousands across North, Central, and South flooded, Minister appeals to councillors. Do your duty. And there is a picture of Chairman of the Penal Dibe Regional Corporation, Gautam Maraj, left is assisted by Corporal Rose of the TNT Defense Force as they stack sandbags at the bank of the Couva River. So that's the main picture. And of course, there's an inset photo of the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Khadija Amin, who we would have spoken to yesterday about the situation going on with regard to the weather and what's taking place. Of course, on the back page of the Daily Express, but the news continues, but they're covering the deadly Air India crash where 241 people were killed and one lone survivor was thrown from the plane and actually survived that crash. Isn't that incredible? And ailing grandmother seeks agency help for leaking roof. Fatal police shooting still under probe in Tobago. And the main sports story, great draw for Warriors. TNT and All Caribbean Group B for CONCACAF final round. Massey Women's CPL shifts to Ghana and T10 winners for Cavaliers and players. So that's for the front and the back of the Daily Express. Moving on to the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for this morning. The front page, rain wreaks havoc. Government identifies Kelly Village, Manuel Congo, Piarco, Peparo, Rio Claro, Sangre Grande, and St. Helena among areas hardest hit by flooding. And there's an aerial shot of flooded area in Valsine South yesterday. And there's an inset photo again of Minister Khadija Amin. And PM misses post-cabinet briefing. Ministers deflect major issues. 2 state enterprises struck off companies' registry. And the Minister of Legal Affairs, Saddam Hussein, there's an insert photo of him. House votes on new Commissioner of Police today. And of course, Allister Guevarro was the name submitted by the Police Service Commission. Of course, we will be speaking to Martin George in the next hour, attorney at law, head of the Tobago Business Chamber, and also a former member of the Police Service Commission. So he's going to weigh in on what the process is like, and what he thinks is going to happen. So we'll be speaking to him in the next hour. So look forward to that conversation. And on the back page of the Newsday today, flooding crisis as Met Office warns of more rains today. So of course, all of that is on. It's a wraparound basically on the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. Yeah, I'll have to go inside, I guess, to get some of their sports news. So let me just see what sports news they have. Windies face Nepal in historic T20 series. Ghana set to host 2025 Women's Caribbean Premier League. And TNT to face Reggae Boys and Curacao in final round of the World Cup qualifiers. That's going to be interesting. Newsday for today, front page. Minister satisfied with state response, but warn flood danger still high. The main picture is of a man in a flooded environment outside his home. That's the front page of the Newsday. And on the back page, TNT, Jamaica, Curacao, Bermuda to meet in final round of World Cup qualifiers. Caribbean showdown. Naked Ministry will support Rainbow Cup Tobago. And that's it for our 3 dailies this morning. So now you know. Of course, at this point, we can open up our lines before we get to our morning poll. We'll get to our poll maybe about 10 to 7 or around like that time. But at this point, this is where we open up our lines so you can get interactive with us on the breakfast show. So let me just put up the numbers so you can call 281-1315, 281-1315. And of course, you can get interactive with us. And
Richard,
yeah.
Before you do so, and the early reminder, I want to do something about this. The issue with the guy who jumped out the plane before crashed.
Was thrown out the plane, they said.
And they say he jumped.
Well, the headline is saying thrown out.
Because he would have had to open the exit door.
I just saying what the headline says.
I read something where it says he actually opened the exit door and jumped before it crashed. That's actually a split decision, and like almost a miracle. That's a movie. It's not something because he just came out with some bruises and he limped away from a crash that killed everybody else.
Yeah.
It's
that's crazy. Yeah. The man didn't survive, it's crazy.
Yeah, and survived without serious injury.
Yeah. Because some people some people on the ground were also killed because you had remember the crash into a medical hostel.
Yes.
So I suppose more and more information concerning that accident is going to come out. Because some people were speculating that it might be pilot error. Yeah, but we don't know at this point while the investigation goes on.
Yeah. All right.
But that is incredible. That man who survived. That is incredible.
It's an incredible story, right?
But we're taking your calls at this point, 281-1315, 281-1315. You can WhatsApp call us or you can direct call us. Either one will work.
All right, we have a first caller. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, folks. Front and center from the crumbling Empire State of New York. How come Wendell happened to be here at the same time when I'm out here working? Anyway.
I'm here for a wedding. I have to attend the wedding.
Okay. I thought the farm boys, as they call one of our intelligence agencies out here, I thought they sent the farm boys. The farm boys sent you to reconnaissance me. So anyway, morning again, and enjoy yourself while you're here. Anyway, I want to find out the change makers. Remember that original letter? I think one of you good chaps read the other day. Is that letter in one of the dailies by chance?
No. These things mostly show up on social media, not on mainstream media.
It's on social media?
I'm sure it is. I couldn't say for certain where to find it, but most times these things show up on social media. Social media reaches far more people than any mainstream media could.
Yeah, true. That is true.
Media. Guys are not. Right. Okay. Hey, enjoy yourself while you're there while you're here, because I'm out here too in New York. Working, going back home to Virginia tonight, and enjoy your stay in the crumbling Empire State. I want to get a chance, Wendell, take a look at the good New York governor being grilled in Congress. And she was like stuttering right through. Anyway, you guys have a good weekend. God bless. Cheers.
Right. Take care. Bye. I hope somebody who's out here in New York listening and they want to take me out to dinner or lunch at the most expensive restaurant out here, you feel free to.
You couldn't just settle for McDonald's or somebody like Pizza Hut. You want to go to the most expensive restaurant.
Caller, good morning. Zina, come on, coffee up.
And good morning to Wendell and Richard. Wendell, you had to go to Zina like to call it. Just will call in and buff. Yeah, yo, God, I can't believe
Did I lie? Did I lie?
Of course, a big lie. Listen to me. I'm sending out greetings to all those online, and a special greeting this morning to CJ of New York. She's very much under the weather. Can hardly talk. Very much under the weather. So CJ, if you're listening at all, good morning, and you try and feel better. Okay, and all so later.
All right, and the survivor, as CJ reminded, was sitting in row 11A. If I'm not mistaken, that's the exit row. I know 11 and 12 are always exit routes in most planes. I don't know if that plane.
Caller, good morning.
Hello. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Richard. Good morning, CJ. Good morning, Wendell. This is Davide here.
Good morning, Davide.
So, I just want to, last night I heard the letter that you read, Richard. I heard it that letter was read on CNC3. So I feel it probably could be in the Guardian newspapers this morning. So, good check. So, sometimes when I listen to Kadisha Amin, you will swear that for the last 10 years, not a river was silted, not a drain was clean, everything was I want to say a word, a harsh word. Everything was stuffed down in the drain. So rain started to fall because we are in the rainy season, and everything is blocked up, so it's flooding out because PNM did not do nothing for the last 10 years. So on account of that, there's flooding right through. People can't go to church, can't go to school, so they have to jump in an army truck to get a drop to school. I mean, who could stop flooding? I would love to know where rain must fall.
But Ms. Davidi, we don't have flooding. We just have water gathering in a place and then running off. We don't have flooding in Trinidad. We don't know what flooding is. I just laugh when people say the road flooding and yet say the car driving. But that's a flood. That's not a flood.
Yeah. I mean,
that's water in
we
the
have
road.
excessive water that's running out. Which country doesn't have rainfall, heavy rainfall? Since last week, Sunday rain falling, and even before that a little bit. So the ground is so saturated that the water has nowhere to run off. And you know what irritates me? Look how many households, communities, where all that water from the roof goes. It must go somewhere. So the rivers and whatever streams and whatever thing, can those things hold all this amount of water? Well, then if you don't want rain, if you don't want flood, you got to stop the rain. Oh gosh, man, flooding is a thing of every country, and we see it, so we don't have flood, because sometimes if you really have flood, houses will be washed away. Not just a car, houses, even people. You know, so that is really irritating me. Oh gosh, yeah, you're in a job. Do the job. You said you had to do something, so you don't want to do nothing then. It's getting vexed, you know.
Well, you know, I don't make a big deal about it because that's all part of politics. But the reality is, if the previous ministry and local government were not doing work, we would have had a bigger problem, right? So I just let them things slide when people talk them. Because as I said, that's all part of the politics. It happens all the time, you know. So, but the main thing is that she is very familiar with it.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning, Paula.
Morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. Far up over here. Wendell, we plan on the corner of Liberty and Trinidad and Tobago Avenue tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Okay, the restaurant, all right?
No, but tomorrow is the day of the wedding. Sorry. I have to go. I'm going to Connecticut for the wedding. I'm not staying in New York. It's Connecticut.
I live in New York. I need to defend my hometown of New York. I've lived for 33 years. Mr. Ron DeSantis from Virginia. You seem to have a banker or somebody in New York on you or something. Because every time you call the New York the crumbling city. You don't like the governor. You don't like the district attorney. Mr. Ron DeSantis. This is personal, people. Mr. Ron DeSantis, New York is much better than Virginia. So please don't keep putting bad words about New York. And everybody, have a great weekend. Wendell, enjoy your stay in New York. And if you need any assistance, give me a call. All right?
All right. Yeah, I'm on Rockaway Boulevard, actually, by Farragut Road there.
What? You're close to me, man.
Yeah, right there is where I stay all the time.
All right. Take care. Have a good day. Everybody take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, so we're still taking your calls on this Friday morning at 281-1315. And of course, you can, I didn't go through, we're more taking the calls and going through comments at this point. But 281-1315, 281-1315.
Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning again. Wendell, how you get over there already? You hear a plane crash, one man survived, you jump on a plane and reach New York already? You real brave, you know.
Well, and I've traveled on a Black Friday, which is something I always say I wouldn't do, but I've done it before. And I do take on again.
Well, you don't go out and walk with lions and tigers, so that is not impossible. Anyhow, I know that message you sent out. You must think CJ would have taken the bait, but she's very sick. Right, so go and find your restaurant, your expensive restaurant by yourself. I go on.
Thank
I'm
you,
approaching
CJ.
the agent now, right? So I'll have to keep quiet.
A special good morning to CJ. CJ, hope you feel better, and hope the show lifts your spirits. Hope. Yeah.
Well, good morning.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning to Zena. I listened to Miss Dabudi. Yes, she was saying about we don't have flooding and there's water in the road. Yes, Wendell, you too. But let me tell all you something. 2013, Diego Martin had, what you want to call it, but it was water, the big river, the Diego Martin River overflow, all the people in Teixeira Street, Jean Avenue. It was a mess. And you see right now, with that rain falling 2 days now, the trees in the Diego Martin River, I don't know if they want a repeat of 2013. Oh God, I tired talk. I sit down in front of the Nobrega, my MP. I show him the pictures with the trees behind the river. Oh God. I mean, I say like the drainage department, because they say it's Ministry of Works drainage department have to come and cut it. So I am saying like they're on a vacation or whatever, the axe or blade, whatever they have to use, it's in Israel or Palestine and it can't reach Port. Wendell, you wouldn't believe how people living alongside that, you're uneasy based on what went on in 2013.
Well, Ms. Diego Martin, that's a historical fact. Anybody living close to rivers will have that issue in terms of when we get in the rain, the kind of rainfall that we get in the last few years. Anybody living close to a river, I would imagine how traumatic it is.
You know what is disturbing to me, Wendell? When I sat in front of Minister Dinobrega, my MP, I showed him the pictures. He said, oh God, that is where... And he took up the phone and he called a man from Mr. Jagannath. And he telling me about a resident in the... And see if you could get it, Wendell, that was October. You know what is pissing me off? You are a minister. The minister works as your colleague. Oh, you can't get him to send out a crew. But if place that a flood out, Wendell, you can backhoe go end up down the river trying to cut the trees. It's ridiculous. And my next point, when I spoke about the gutter behavior of them 6 girls, all you hear from one of them do a voicemail and cussing. I said, but what the hell is this? I hope the police find them fast.
This is the girls. These are the girls who beat up the Holy Faith convent girl.
Yeah, who went into the convent yard and dragged out the girl. Real gangster behavior. What the hell is going on? And I mean, you're hearing up to now the police can't arrest nobody yet. These people jokey, man.
Yeah,
Get
and
them out of school and send them, my lad. Them don't want education. Let the soldiers deal with them. Fed up of that fighting in schools. Have a good weekend.
Well, that could be the subject of our poll this morning, actually. That issue with those connected to the issue that the Prime Minister said that that once there's violence in schools, you will be expelled and you will be held criminally liable.
Yeah.
And let the police arrest you. So we could make that the subject of the poll because that story is still going on. And the mother, because the girl is in hospital, and the mother said that she believes it was the wrong girl they targeted. They couldn't find the girl they came for, and they just pounced on her. So she just was at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's one of the things that you're hearing. But it's a crazy incident that took place. Yeah, good morning, caller.
Morning, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
We're good.
This is Zena. When the Lord Zena, I think Zena drives. Zena asked this question. When you drive
a plane is still safer than a car.
When you drive in a car and you see an accident, do you stop driving? I was flying at the same time at the airplane supposed to fell out the sky. That looked like fun. Anyway, life has to go on. Paul, Wendell, do all your flying as much as you can. No studies in. You all have a good weekend and be safe.
All right.
All
Happy
right.
Father's Day.
But maybe unless we have a caller on the line, CJ, we could probably go to our morning poll.
Yeah.
Do we have a call on the line?
Not yet.
Okay, but let's go to our morning poll then. And of course,
It happened. We have a caller.
Okay. This is the
Caller,
last
good
call
morning.
I think before we go to the poll. Good morning.
Hey, yeah. Morning, fellas. What's up, everybody in the house? Yeah, I think they could the flooding issue. I think that there's a controllable issue. I think there were two engineers dropping their theory in the in the newspapers. I think sometime last week. And what they were looking at is they're espousing that it have something to do with holding back the sea level coming up so the water could come down and then holding some water and thing, right? And I think the Dutch is a good example of a country who have managed their issue. They had one experience of flooding, 200 and something people died. They invested a few $1 billion on a floodgate that held back the water. They only used it once, and in the interview, the person said, "But why will you all spend money, the U.S. people, right?" Because, and the Dutch people have a water ambassador that goes around the world to help countries with their flood engineering, and it was the Dutch who built the thing in Guyana. Now, I don't know how their floodgates are working, but I think Guyana hasn't flooded. I don't know, because it's old, I guess, the infrastructure. I don't know how things get it. But Guyana is another example of the holding back of water. So, just to add to that thing that, yes, we can control it, is that I don't think we have invested properly in the engineering of our water situation. We have platitudes like, the little flood basins and things by sea lots, which was, I don't think, done very well. But I think when you're talking about a flood engineering issue, you're talking somewhere in the billions of our investment kind of situation, which I don't think we are prepared to invest in at this moment. But flood mitigation and flood holdback is something that could happen, but it's the investment we have to ask the political elites. Why haven't we invested heavily in a flood mitigation engineering solution? And when I see the flood, the Dutch water ambassador, maybe I could see that people getting serious with the situation, because I think we have the engineering here, as maybe those guys said, but I don't think it's a cheap thing. And I don't think it's a clearing a jury and stuff, but it have to do something with the sea level holdback and something about how you're seriously thinking as a ministry of planning infrastructure. But I think it will be cheap.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there at this point because we have to move to our morning poll. But thanks, Dean, for that input. All right, so as you can see, the morning poll is up on the screen. Do you agree with children being expelled and held criminally liable for violence in schools? Of course, that would have been said by the Prime Minister. And of course, you have that high-profile incident with that Holy Faith convent girl that was raised. So that's our poll for this morning. Do you agree with children being expelled and held criminally liable for violence in schools? That's our poll this morning. Let the voting begin. And of course, you can vote on the messaging board. You can send your votes via the comment section in Facebook and YouTube. And of course, you can also WhatsApp us at 2811315. So we have like a minute before we go to our news, and then we will continue to take your votes during the news. And of course, we'll give you our final tally after the news before we begin our interview with Martin George, attorney at law and former member of the Police Service Commission.
You ready for vote, Richard?
Absolutely, I am.
All right. Hilary Zan, yes. Marlon Motley, yes. Cheryl Henry, yes. Kenwin Henry, yes. Trinidad Margot, yes. Gerald Darlington, yes. Anthony Atwell, yes. Carol Guevara, yes. Culture, Cambridge, yes.
Oh, he's stuck.
The Heart, yes. Far Rockaway, yes. What? You want me to stop?
No, but when you said Cambridge, you paused for a while. So did we miss any from Cambridge?
No. After Culture, Cambridge is Julia Batiste, DL, CJ, Allister Hart, Far Rockaway, yes.
I didn't get any of those that you're talking about there.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Well, all of those are yes.
Okay.
Terence Roach, yes. Trini Gets Fit, no. Keith Clark, yes. Lester Cragwell, yes. Eva Smith, yes. Dean says no. Children need support. I tend to agree with that, Dean, but at the same time, I think something harsh has to be done about this future. Slick Money Grip, yes. Jude Khan, yes. Donna Ramluchan, no. Siobhan Shogun, yes. Avanel Brown, yes. Clea Lendor Rollins, yes. Carlisle Cupid, yes. Wayne Ramsey, yes. Pearl Police, yes. Scorpion Pepper, if they can be remediated and continue their education, yes. Okay. Ian Maraj, yes. Michael Robinson, yes. Donna Ramluchan didn't vote. Eva Smith, yes. Ingrid from Tucson, yes. Scorpion Pepper, yes.
From the
Those
message.
are all our votes so far.
From the message.
So what you have there, CJ?
We have a yes from Kent from the message board. We also have a yes from Ron Capital. We have. That's the only two I have here.
Okay. But you can continue to vote during the news. And when we come back, we give you the final tally for our poll this morning. Do you agree with children being expelled and held criminally liable for violence in schools? That's our poll this morning. So when we come back, we'll take whatever votes that weren't tallied. What was the last name that you stopped at, Wendell?
Stopped at Scorpion Pepper. So I have from Sherwin to do after this.
Okay. All right. So at this point, we break for our 7 o'clock news on The Breakfast Show.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Friday, June 13th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. An orange-level riverine flood alert remains in effect for parts of Trinidad as dangerously high river levels threaten flood-prone communities along the Caroni, Manuel Congo, and South Oropouche rivers. The Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service issued an update at 4:19 p.m. yesterday, warning that the Caroni River continues to overspill near the Tumpuna and El Carmen areas. The Manuel Congo River, which had previously declined, is rising again due to yesterday's rainfall, nearing critical levels once more. The South Oropouche River is also rising steadily, with some communities already experiencing localized flooding. The mother of a Holy Faith convent student who was savagely beaten outside the school gates on Tuesday is calling for the assailants to face the full brunt of the law. The 45-year-old woman said her daughter was kept overnight at the San Fernando General Hospital for tests, and while there were no major injuries, she is in significant pain. A 30-second video showed 5 girls from other schools beating and kicking the girl while she was on the ground. The victim's mother said her daughter wasn't the target, but was grabbed by mistake when the assailants couldn't find their intended victim. If they're going to say they are children and they are underage, they have parents, and it is time somebody is held accountable for this kind of thing, she said. Assistant Commissioner of Police Wayne Mystar called the assault a coordinated act of violence and said arrests are imminent. Police are continuing investigations after a 35-year-old man from Maloney Gardens allegedly escaped lawful custody following the recovery of a firearm early Wednesday morning. Around 1:15 a.m., officers responded to reports of an armed man at Building 10 apartment 12 West Maloney Gardens. When PC Wallace called on the suspect to exit a bedroom with his hands up, a sound consistent with a firearm being chambered was heard. After the suspect exited with his hands on his head, officers discovered an open bedroom window and spotted a firearm outside. When informed of his arrest, the suspect reportedly pulled away and fled the apartment. Officers later recovered a black and silver Taurus G2C 9mm firearm on the western side of the building. The Water and Sewerage Authority says water levels at all major reservoirs are currently above their long-term averages. As of today, Navit stands at 71.6% capacity, well above its long-term average of 45.7%. Arena is at 65.3% compared to an LTA of 54.6%, while Hillsborough is at 74.5% and Hollis at 80%, nearly double its LTA of 44.3%. However, adverse weather conditions continue to affect operations at some facilities in North Trinidad, including Tompire, Matura, Quere, Guanapo, La Pastora, McDavid, and LNN, affecting areas such as Toco, Balandra, Matura, parts of Valencia, and Arima. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In business news, as Trinidad and Tobago continues to battle the Forex crunch, two economists are recommending that government implement a managed float in its mid-year budget review. Economist Dr. Ronald Ramkissoon and regional economist Dr. Justin Ram are advising a managed float system where the exchange rate fluctuates within a band based on demand and supply. Ramkissoon noted that Trinidad and Tobago operated a managed float successfully starting in April 1993. Ram said the country needs to look at where the market is already pricing foreign exchange and adjust accordingly, noting that people are already purchasing foreign exchange at rates as high as $10 to $1 in the open market. However, former Finance Minister Selby Wilson disagrees, saying the country is already operating under a managed float system through central bank interventions. In international news, at least 290 people are dead after a passenger plane crashed on departure at an airport in Ahmedabad, India. The Air India flight en route to London hit a hostel for doctors when it crashed, with images showing its tail protruding from the building. The death toll includes people on the plane and others on the ground. A total of 241 of the 242 people aboard the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner were killed in the crash, with a single British national passenger surviving. Boeing said it is ready to support Air India. It's the first major incident involving the aircraft type. Air India has seen a few rare but high-profile plane crashes through the years, spurring Indian authorities to improve safety and infrastructure. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. I know Sir Charles is not here today, so the breakfast show with Wendell and Richard continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Bringing you full discussions, the hottest topics, and some tracks to keep you moving. The Drive Time Exchange on Net Radio, taking you above and beyond.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
Bamba beating Bamba day. Better jump on this Monday with a breakout story. Melda oh, why you gone away? I give you love, all my love. Just the other day, you was laying next to me, but now you're far away. I'll confess these feelings. Are you listening? She said never again. Says ya never again. Ya take all the pain. Says ya never again. At the end of the day, you ain't gonna change your ways. No come back again. Where else I go? Without you, my darling, it's pressure for so. When you ain't back on me, where else I go? Without you, my darling, it's pressure for so. When you ain't back on me, I'm missing you. Look how I'm missing you. Every day I'm missing you. Yeah, I'm missing you.
And of course, I need to be missing someone. City weather, just and of course, if you're not joining us, this is the Breakfast Show, the second half. We welcome you. This is New Era TT.
Just let me explain. She said never again. Says ya never again. Ya take all the pain. Says ya never again. At the end of the day, you ain't gonna change your ways. No come back again. No. Where else I go? Without you, my darling, it's pressure for so. When you ain't back on me, where else I go? Without you.
Okay, folks. So now we enter the second half of the Breakfast Show.
Great news, Caribbean. The Breakfast Show is now on M&E TV, bringing you entertaining conversations, vital information, and influential perspectives throughout Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean region. Catch us on Digicel Channel 20, Flow Channel 111, Amplia Channel 117, Blink Channel 109, Tricode Channel 154, and Airlink Channel 10. The Breakfast Show connects with the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago like never before. We're now on M&E TV.
Oh my gosh, we're packing up because we are going to Naparima Bowl.
Naparima Bowl, we coming. Naparima Bowl, we coming back.
Oh God, we have to take all of these. Everything have to go.
June the 14th, you don't want to miss it.
Listen, you see how tight it is to get through this? You better get your tickets early. 14th of June, Naparima Bowl. One show only.
14th, we coming on. Don't worry, listen. That's it, eh? What? Tell all they know I walk by.
Somebody help!
Sensational. Yeah. What didn't I do for you, girl?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Last call, Cipriani College, last call. RSRR Productions, Married and Mischievous is on its last call at Cipriani College. The #1 comedy that has everybody talking and laughing comes to Cipriani College for a final 2 nights. Saturday the 14th of June at 8:30 p.m. and on Father's Day, Sunday the 15th of June at 6:30 p.m. Treat your dad to this comedy. Married and Mischievous at Cipriani College. Tickets available at the usual outlets and at the Cipriani College box office from Monday 9th June. Don't miss this one. Adults only.
All right, so we are back on the breakfast show this morning. Just before we're just about to continue with the voting for the morning poll. Let me just bring back up the poll for this morning. And our morning poll, of course, was: do you agree with children being expelled and held criminally liable for violence in schools? I just want to remind you, of course, that for the play Married and Mischievous, which is on tomorrow night and Sunday, Father's Day, tomorrow night at 8:30 and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. in Cipriani College. Tickets are on sale not only at the Cipriani College box office from 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily, but also at K-Squared Fashions in West Mall, East Gates, and Brentwood Mall in Chagonas, Jabili Rawe in Tunapuna, and Tony's Florals in Val Park Shopping Plaza, Shuffler, Other Services, and of course in Arima at Alextronics in Arima. So you have tickets all over the place. You can also purchase tickets online. Just go to RSRR Productions Theater on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, and you can see the process in doing the bank transfer and to get your tickets online. It's very simple. All right, so
Richard, you might lose me. You hear me? You might lose myself for a bit as I exit to get my pickup, right? But let me continue with the poll. Sherwin Kerr says yes. Camillus says no. Cheryl M says yes. Annie Bunyan, yes. Faraya Hayat Charlie, yes. Susan Jessup, yes. CJ says, I agree with Farrokkery's contribution. Gillian Dick says yes, but there has to be controlled rehabilitation. Beauty Culture says yes. Long time, and I agree with this statement, Beauty Culture. Long time I would have said no, but with the gangs now, I change. These students are causing a lot of disruptions in the school. Anne Noel says a big yes. Scorpion Pepper is asking Richard a question. You can look at it and give a legal perspective. D. Allen also says school violence, bullying tells me there's absolutely no psychosocial proper interface in schools. There's never been, actually. Darren Ramcharcha says, okay, he's not. Rajiv Ramlal says, okay, happy Father's Day. Rajiv Ramlal voted and says yes. Right? Who else? Cheryl Henry says, okay, that's it for the voting.
Couple
Do you have any, TJ?
A couple more on the side. Zena says yes. Mr. Wickham also says yes. That's it.
Zena voted on what? WhatsApp?
Yeah.
All right, so our poll this morning: do you agree with children being expelled and held criminally liable for violence in school? We had 50 people voting in the allotted time, 50 voting in the allotted time. Of the 50 people who voted, 46 of you said yes. You do agree with children being expelled and held criminally liable for violence in school. 46 of you said yes, and 4 of you said no. Children need to be treated a little differently, I guess. And that's what your sentiment would be. 4 of you said no. 46 of you said yes. So the yeas have it by a wide margin on this poll this morning. And do you agree with children being expelled and held criminally liable for violence?
You know what's amazing? Growing up, I don't know if this ever happened to you. It didn't happen to me, but I know that they used to do that. Parents used to do that. Carry the children to the police station a long time ago and show them the jail and show them this, because police stations actually have a cell in it. I mean, I born and grew up opposite a police station on the Western Minerals in Gibson. And I know something, I don't know if my parents ever did it when we were small. You know, of course, they died very early. But I know children, parents used to bring their child, show them and point them towards the jail and say, you misbehave, this is where you're going to end up. Or you had children had fear of a police officer a long time. You understand? So, but I don't know what is going on. I really don't know what's going on. Thank God my children never get that kind of trouble. But I could imagine how hard it is for some parents who are trying their very best, providing all that the children need, and still have to deal with a child that's going in school and being encouraged, or just a complete monster in a school as opposed to home. There are some parents facing that reality, you know, they have absolutely no control over the children. Absolutely not. And some of them don't want to control it. You understand? So it's a tough thing, but you know. You have to drive something has to be done about it, and which is why I didn't oppose the Prime Minister when she said it. I opposed the other one, right? But I didn't oppose that scene.
Also, to add to what you're saying there, right? Because what I think and all might be a main or a large contributing factor to that as well is the fact that, remember, parents 90% of the time are not with their children, because early in the morning you're going to school. By the time you reach home, the parent probably still working. And then by the time the parent reaches home from work, it's either you're sleeping already, or that cycle just repeating itself over and over again. So that could be. And then in mommy and daddy's eyes, you are seeing, but when you reach the school and you're under peer pressure, it's a total different individual you're dealing with.
Children spend, let's face it, children spend most of the time probably in school, more in school than at home.
That's true.
You know, or with friends than with their parents. You know, it's a tough thing, as I say, to try to re-engender family life in homes where parents take the time and sit down with the children, go to church with the children. That was something we grew up with. You couldn't go. My grandmother, the elder people in our family, you had to go to church, and you had to go to the Anglican church, you had to go to the Nazarene church, you had to go to the Baptist church when they're doing Thanksgiving. You had to go. I grew up from Hussein, so you're in the mosque. It's everything you had to do back there.
Correct.
All right, but we have to get to our guest is waiting backstage. So we're getting to our Let's Talk segment, and up next in about 30 seconds or less, we'll be speaking with Martin George, attorney at law and former member of the Police Service Commission, for our Let's Talk segment. So our Let's Talk segment will begin right about now.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So good morning, Martin George.
Hi, morning. How are you guys?
We are good. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
Yes.
Morning, Mr. George. I'm a part of the world. I know you always all over the place too, you know. you doing your take on a plane too, eh?
I'm telling you, boy. Making use of the technology,
Yes. It's so convenient. I always tell people COVID was bad, but COVID was good too, you know.
Listen, we got some blessings coming out of COVID, you know.
Yeah.
Because even for the judiciary, we moved to electronic filing, electronic service of documents. It's been so convenient, even electronic court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now electronic radio.
Yeah. Very funny.
Good to have you.
Yes,
Martin. So, Martin George, of course, we wanted to discuss the top cop selection, and we know you're a former member of the Police Service Commission, and of course, they would have submitted a merit list with Allister Guevarro, who's the #1 selection for the Commissioner of Police, and the Deputy Commissioner Mystar, which goes before Parliament today.
Okay, well, just confirm for me. You've seen the merit list?
Well, we haven't seen the merit list.
And that's the point I'm making, because I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen anything put out in the public space about a merit list, and that is concerning to me.
Also, be starting there, because we assumed, I know we assumed that the recommendations made meant they were the top of the merit list.
From since 2 days, Richard, you know we always say,
what kind of baccalaureate Martin Joseph?
You must never assume.
Martin George, sorry about Martin Joseph. What kind of baccalaureate you start here, Mr. George?
Huh?
What kind of baccalaureate you start here? You said you
no, but is that serious question I ask him?
Is it usual for the Police Service Commission to issue the merit list?
Well, okay, what is supposed to be submitted to the president is supposed to be a merit list. It's not supposed to be just one name, because the Parliament doesn't have any obligation to choose the top name or the name that is submitted at all. They could say, look, we want to go down the list. If we all recall, remember where Gary Griffith was on the list?
Yes.
Where? What number?
4.
That's right. They rejected 1, they rejected 2, they rejected 3, and then they chose Gary Griffith because the government at the time wanted Gary Griffith. Of course, the same government at some later point didn't want Gary Griffith, and that's a whole different story.
So what should have been presented to the president, for the president to
should have been a merit list.
Yeah, but that has not been.
Well, we don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Know.
And that's why I'm saying the PSC, they ought to have been more forthright and transparent with the public on this issue. Because remember what happened with Blissy Prasad, right? She sent forth a list, right, when she was chairman of the commission, and then it is alleged that there was the intervention by someone very high up in the government,
Yes.
of that list,
Yes, which caused a lot of commentary and stuff, and the whole scrutinizing of the process.
Exactly.
Became major talking points in the media.
Yes.
So there should have been a list, but we're not sure. That should have been forwarded by the president to the parliament.
By the PSC to the president.
To the president, and then the president to parliament.
That's correct, yes.
So is it that we may, if there was a list, we may get some reference to that list in parliament today?
Well, we want to hope so. Because, no, wait, just now. The president, when the president gets the list, the president forwards the name of the top candidate to the parliament. The president doesn't forward the whole list to the parliament,
Oh, I thought it was the entire list. So how they gonna get? How they got the list of first, second, third, fourth? The president had to keep sending names.
Well, that's supposed to be the process, but this is Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, so if it is that they veto Allister Guevarro and they go to the second name on the list, is it that the president has to now resubmit a new name?
Yeah.
But would that happen on the same day?
Well, boy, that's the thing. It's such a cumbersome and convoluted process, very cumbersome and convoluted.
Yeah, because it seems a little counterintuitive if you want to resolve the issue in one day.
Yes, of course.
There should be just one list, and the president should say, here is the merit list. There are 10 names on it. You choose who you want, basically. And Parliament then debates it. Do you expect...
And you're quite right to say you choose who you want, because that's what it comes down to.
That's what it comes down to. And that takes me to another part of the conversation, Martin. The issue of the Police Service Commission is an independent institution that is tasked with this process. Yet, whatever they do in terms of their process, in terms of getting to the point of selecting a commissioner of police, even though they are independent in that part of the process, at the point that it gets to Parliament, that can just be shoved straight out the window. Parliament can go with the 15th person on the list if they want.
That's right. Yep.
Do you think that process makes sense?
Well, no, we clearly need to reform the whole process. I think we are the only country in the world that goes through this convoluted, jumping through all these hoops and, all of these shenanigans just to choose a commissioner of police.
Yeah, because ultimately it's whoever is in governance.
That's right.
Ultimately chooses that commissioner of police.
Yep.
Not the Police Service Commission.
That's correct. Well, I mean, I guess you get the chance to shortlist the candidates.
Yes.
But you ultimately don't choose the commissioner.
What do you think would be the best process in terms of selection? If you had to revamp the process and say this should be the process, what would you say?
I would say first of all, you need full-time commissioners. Right? That's the first thing, right? Secondly, I would say remove the parliamentary selection. So in other words, let the Police Service Commission do their job, let them make their selection, and that person becomes the Commissioner of Police. End of story. So therefore, you don't really need, what do you need Parliament's input for? They have not conducted the exercise of the vetting, the screening, the interviews, the testing, the psychometric testing, all those. They have not done any of those things. So what are they really in the mix for? It's simply because our politicians love to dabble and hold on to the control, and that's exactly why they don't want to remove it and change it. So in other words, if you recall, years ago it used to be the prime ministerial veto. Are we on?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. Years ago, it used to be the prime ministerial veto, right? And you recall when Mr. Manning exercised that veto against Mr. Stephen Williams, and he decided, well, look, he didn't want Stephen Williams as commissioner, and he vetoed him, and everybody was in an uproar. They said, well, it's not fair to have one person deciding. And then they changed the legislation and made it such that it's now the parliamentary majority. But it still comes back to what the government of the day wants, and ultimately, I guess, what the prime minister wants. So we've done a whole big circle to come back to zero.
But they must be aware of these deficiencies, which gets me sometimes. They must be aware of it because they're intelligent people in Parliament and understanding processes, and some of them are seasoned. They must know that, look, this is not the most efficient process in terms of electing or selecting a commissioner of police, but yet they hold on to it. Why is it? Because, we have independent institutions in this country, but I like to say that they're independent to a point.
Well, in other words, basically what they do is they have you on a leash. So you could run on your own, but only as far as the leash allows you. So that's the independence that they want. So in other words, you're independent to run, but until I pull that leash, that's it. That's the end of your tenure. And you saw that exactly played out with Mr. Gary Griffith when he was appointed as commissioner, right? He was supposed to be independent, right? But the point is, it's clear that there was some clash between himself and I guess maybe the government or the prime minister, clash of wills. And then suddenly the government didn't want him anymore.
And you can't, it's almost like the government wants, like whoever's in power wants a commissioner that they feel they could live
they
with.
can control. Yes, basically. I'm getting a lot of feedback from somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, Wendell, you may have to just pause your volume unless you're going to talk. I wonder if he heard me. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. Because Wendell is on his commute. So, like you, he's a big traveler. So, and now in terms of Allister Guevarro, do you have any opinions? Because we commented yesterday that was a name that we did not know, we were unaware of.
Similarly, it's a name I don't know.
Yeah.
So I can't say yay or nay, and I think that's why it's even more incumbent upon the PSC to have, given some more information to the public. In other words, even when they were conducting the exercise, because I remember when we were there, Richard, the way we would do it, we would publish the list and say, look, these are the candidates who have applied. And in fact, we would invite public comment. And there's good reason for that, because if it is that there are things that are known against somebody that some member of the public could actually bring forth and say, hey, listen, there's something you need to investigate, then it avoids the pitfalls of you appointing somebody, and then it later turns out that there are skeletons in their closet that you weren't aware of, So it is very good for that purpose and that kind of vetting to be able to do so, but we knew nothing of the process. We heard nothing from them. We didn't know what was going on, and then you see a name pop up, and it's a name that I guess not many members of the public are familiar with. So therefore, people will ask questions, and you see, then they wonder why there's a lack of public trust and confidence in the TTPS or the Police Service Commission and their actions and their what they do. But it's because of the lack of transparency and being frank and forthright with the public.
So do you think then
Mr. George, sorry, I was in and out. Sorry.
Yeah. What but wouldn't it be easy to check to find out what are Mr. Guevarro's what is his background? What is his qualifications? Why would he be at the top of this list? I mean, well, why would he be? Would you recommend me? Because we don't know about any list, right? What wouldn't that be easy to check?
Not really, because I mean, of course, you can check in terms of his career and what he would have done within the police service. But in terms of the process for the vetting and the screening and the ranking and the grading, it's only the PSC could reveal that. If you understand me, because let me tell you, it's a very involved process. You have the medical checks. You have to send people for medical checks. Right, they have to do extensive medical screening because, of course, say for instance, you don't want a commissioner who has, say for instance, some serious congenital heart disease who might drop down on the job, a week after you appoint him because it's a high pressure job, it's a high stress job, right? So you have the medical test, you have the psychometric testing, where you now try to understand the psychology and the thinking of the individual. So you have very specific tests that are designed for that, So basically, it's almost like trick questions where they are not sure where you're coming from, right? Because you want to test their thinking, their responses to understand this individual who you are appointing. Then you have the security vetting, where you now have to actually conduct security checks to see, is this person a security risk? Do they have things in their past or in their history or in their life that present some sort of risk to the nation? So it's a whole lot of things, but it's only the PSC could reveal what was done in this scenario and how they came up with this candidate as number one.
How transparent do you feel the Police Service Commission should be? For example, are you in favor that list that's being sent to the president, that merit list, be made public, and in terms of the order of that list, or just the names on that list, and say these are the top 10 contenders? You're not saying what position they are, and these are, if you have any objections, as you were suggesting, any objections to any of these candidates, please send to this email, blah, blah, blah.
All right, okay. All right, let me just be clear. The issue of inviting the public comment was at the start of the process. So in other words, when you have the applicants, that's when we invited public comment. All right, so in other words, we published the list. So if it was 40 applicants, we say, look, these are the 40 persons who applied for the job, etc., etc. Right?
Which makes sense,
I just want to be clear on that. But I agree with you that the list should be made public. The public should know about it. And I also think the order of ranking should be made public.
Yeah. It almost seems as if, well, it's not almost, it is very secretive.
Cloak and dagger. That's how they are operating.
Yeah. And it is the people's business.
Of course it is, because in other words, if it is that the public is kept abreast and kept informed and kept in the loop, then of course they would trust and respect the process more. But then when it appears that you are just foisting somebody upon them, and then worse yet, if it's not somebody that the public is, particularly familiar with, then they're like, hey, where you come from, basically. I mean, if you want to put it in local parlance.
But Mr. George, there's also a school of thought too that and a few people actually put it on the chat the other day, that their intention might really be to support Mr. Mystar, this government that is, for Commissioner of Police. I don't know if you have heard that, and what would warrant such a comment from people?
Well, I don't know, but the thing is, from what I have seen put out, Mr. Mystar has not been nominated for the post of commissioner. So if you are not on the list, the merit list for commissioner, and you are simply on the merit list for deputy commissioner, then you can't make that quantum leap to say, well, look, I am plucking you from the list of recommended persons for deputy commissioner and making you commissioner.
Well, here am I thinking with that, and I would imagine this is thinking of other people too. Once he becomes a deputy commissioner, he can in fact act as commissioner, not so?
Yes, he can. He can.
Right.
And then, of course, he can then be appointed as commissioner if it is that the recommendation is made by the Police Service Commission at some later point.
Right. But he could also be acting commissioner in perpetuity, like what they did Stephen Williams. Every 6 months, they give you extend your acting appointment.
You get a 6 months, 10 days, 10 days every 6 months.
Yeah, yeah, and they control you there, as we were discussing before.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but I mean, in terms of the specific candidates here, I cannot comment.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. In terms of what's taking a process in Parliament, Martin, it's simply just a vote on the floor. As
Yes, and it's a simple majority, which the government has. So, as you quite rightly said at the start, Richard, the government gets who they want.
Yeah. In terms of that process.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
I mean, we will have to wait and see what transpires in court today. It'll be interesting to see what they do, and if they don't veto him and they actually select him, and say, well, we will go with the recommendation of the Police Service Commission. And is the Police Service Commission process, as you would have known it, thorough enough that people should trust in who the emerging candidates are at the top of the list?
Well, the thing is, I'll tell you, and it's a fact. As a commissioner on the PSC, you get calls all the time. You get calls, you get hints, you get suggestions from members of government, members of the opposition, other interested persons. You get them all the time. It's the reality. We live in a small society. But of course, you have a duty to be faithful to the oath that you took and to the provisions of the Constitution whereby you were appointed, to ensure that you exercise that robust independence and impartiality. But if it is that nothing is being explained to the public, then of course people will begin to wonder and ask questions. And that's where I think that this present PSC has not been as forthright and as transparent with the public as they should be. And I say that respectfully. I say that very respectfully.
Yeah. So, but in terms of when you were there as a commissioner, were you satisfied personally that the process gave forth the correct candidate, and
as best as we could? And I mean, we were also subjected to calls and requests and stuff like that, but we just ignored them, if you understand me. At the end of the day, as I say, it happens. It's a reality. There's no doubt about it, right? But we were faithful to our process, and we tried to ensure that out of that process, you create a list that is of the most suitable candidates at the time.
As part of that commission that you were, as part of the process at the time, does the Police Service Commission make recommendations to the amendment of the process, even to the point that you were suggesting that the ideal process should be this?
Well,
does the Police Service Commission make those sorts of recommendations?
When Professor Ramesh Dioson was chairman, we conducted the most extensive and exhaustive self-analysis and introspection exercise possible. We actually came up with a comprehensive document for a thorough reform of the Police Service Commission, the legislation, the Constitution in that regard. And that's where the idea of the permanent commissioners came from. Because we recognize that, look, it's not possible to do this job properly on a part-time basis. You need full-time commissioners. You need them to have that security of tenure, to understand that, well, okay, look, it's not that every time a government changes, you feel, well, you could change these people, that kind of thing. You want to ensure that you have that continuity in terms of a vision and a mandate to ensure the safety and security of the nation, which transcends political parties, governments, etc. And that's what we recommended. Nobody has taken it on, nobody has implemented it yet, but it's there.
Is that surprising to you?
Not at all. This is Trinidad and Tobago. We love conducting deep, detailed studies and then leave them to gather dust.
Yeah, I get you.
Yes.
Are you willing to take some calls?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we can open up our lines, and in case you have any questions concerning the process, 281-1315, 281-1315. I know sometimes people like to buff us and say, "Oh, they didn't take no calls," blah blah blah. So, 281-1315. There's a number on your screen. 281-1315. We can take some calls. Of course, we are speaking to Martin George, as you should very well know. Concerning the Police Service Commission and the two names, let me not say list, the two names that are going before Parliament today.
Yes. One as commissioner and one as deputy commissioner.
Yeah, we have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen and Mr. George. Mr. George, you spoke about the thoroughness of the Police Service Commission work under your tenure. I can recall I was then a serving member. I served for 28 years. And I believe it's your commission conducted an employee survey of the members of the police service and with specifics towards how we then as the subordinates felt about the higher echelons of the police service, the people who were in charge of them. And you would recall that the feeling of the subordinates to the seniors was terrible. Would you want to reveal that to these gentlemen? I think the approval rating then was about 10% in terms of the subordinate people. And
he's quite correct. The caller is quite correct. The caller is quite correct. Because
recommendations concerning one, how to change the feeling of the subordinates towards the seniors, and nothing was never done. And that was about 10 to 15 years ago. So, gentlemen, I tell you, going forward, when you have a promotion process that is still the same way, it has not been reformed, and that's why there's so much matters in court in terms of the management system of the police service. But Mr. George, my question for you is this, right? Do you think the time has come where serious reform of the Police Service Commission and the fact that the intended idea in 1962 when all service commissions were appointed needs to be reviewed? Because I tell you this, right? The movement away from the next man up promotion system, like you have a perpetual merit list and the next man or woman up is promoted, to me, that was the better way because it allowed continuity to go forward. And, and the constant changing of merit lists based on whoever are the commissioners and who is the government has us in this morass with respect to police leadership and management. I'll leave it there in your good hands.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
You know, strange enough, what the caller just said there was one of the, I still want to say promises, but one of the things that Dr. Rowley had spoken about early in his tenure in terms of changing all these things. I knew it would have, I think it would have required a constitutional majority or whatever, but he spoke about those things, including the public service, that it needed to be reformed, but we just keep talking these things and nobody really doing anything about it.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. You're quite right. And the caller is correct. As part of our exercise, because what we wanted to do, not just to gauge public trust and confidence in the TTPS as a whole, we wanted to understand among the officers themselves, how did the rank and file police officers feel about the executive of the police service? In other words, how were they treated? How were things managed? How things were handled? And the caller is quite correct. It was quite shocking across the board that most of the junior officers felt very negatively towards the executive of the TTPS at the time when we conducted that survey, and they had very, very strong feelings in terms of how things were done. And, they felt a sense of unfairness. They felt a sense of frustration. They felt that their dreams, their aspirations were being stymied, that, they could be victimized. And, it was quite an eye-opener. And I thank the caller for, making mention of that point, because it shows that even within the belly and bosom of the police service itself, you have deep divisions and fractures, and it's really a difficult animal to manage.
Right. In defense though of Mr. Guevarro, who I absolutely do not know, and I said this publicly, the fact that his name came up the other day and there's nothing that has come out in terms to tarnish him in any way in the last few days, it's commendable, because he has been in the police service for quite a little while. The most that we heard is that he was the person investigating the nationwide blackout. That's what we've heard thus far. But there's nothing else that has come out on Mr. Guevarro from the time that his name was put forward to today, where it's being debated, to suggest that there is dirt on him.
Yeah. Do we have any other calls, CJ?
We have a next caller on the line. Caller, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Mr. George.
Morning.
You stated just now that we just saw a while ago that if Mr. Mystar is appointed deputy commissioner and he is put to act as the commissioner, that he can be appointed to that particular post. Can he still be appointed to that post? I bet there is order of merit list. Can they supersede the order of merit list and still appointed to that post as commissioner of police because he's acting?
Good question.
That's not what I was saying. Sorry, that's not what I was saying. I was saying, in fact, the opposite. I said if he is not on the merit list for commissioner and he's only on the merit list for deputy commissioner, then at this point he can only be appointed as a deputy commissioner. What happens is Wendell then asked about the acting, and I said, well, yes, if it is that there's a vacancy at the top, then he can be appointed to act as commissioner.
Okay, caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. A distinguished attorney, Mr. Martin George from Tobago. How are you going? I want to make mention is the first caller made a very good point. Sound like a former police officer.
He was. He said so.
Yeah, he did say that. He did say that.
Yes.
That he is a former police officer.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with his contribution. And I want to ask the attorney, right? The attorney there. Do you feel that this present system of selecting a police commissioner is the best one? And if you say no, I think it should be scrapped. So I want to hear your opinion on that, because it seems like there's a lot of controversy still happening with this present system. Thank you very much, Mr. George.
The real bacchanal will be after today. We'll see what happens today.
Indeed. Yeah, I agree with the caller. This present system is not the best. It's definitely not the best, and we definitely need to reform it. And that's why, again, I would respectfully suggest that we take a look at the recommendations that were made when we did that extensive, analysis. Of our process and our procedures, and we made certain recommendations for changing it. And I certainly think that one of the things we need to look at is to remove this parliamentary approval. Because you see, what you end up doing, Richard and Wendell, you say, well, you want to insulate it from the political control and interference. So you move it to the Police Service Commission, and then you go through a whole series of hoops and loops and jumps, and you make doesn't make any sense. So I don't see any need for the parliamentary approval. I think once the Police Service Commission is reformed and you have their permanent commissioners and they have the chance to do their due diligence, they do their psychometric testing, they do their medical testing, they do everything, and they have come up with their choices, then they should be able to make their recommendations as, look, this is the person we think is best suited for the job. And then now you have that level of independence and freedom from the final say of the politicians choosing who they want as commissioner.
I'm still convinced, though, that no career police officer, nobody who's come up through the ranks, can fix that TTPS. And you have to fix the TTPS first before you fix Trinidad and Tobago. That's my personal opinion.
Why do you say that, Wendell? Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Because for exactly the same reasons that you were pointing out earlier on the call also too, that there is no respect. There's a batch mentality that, you know what, there's my group. I ain't going to deal with them as rotten as some of them are. You understand? Because you always want to give them the benefit of the doubt to try to fix themselves. But they can't fix themselves. They have to be gotten rid of. They have to be out of the service completely. And if you could fix the TTPS, you can fix other institutions. You can go into the schools, you can go into these neighborhoods, you could try to fix other people. But people seeing that police can't fix themselves. So that's why they're losing respect for the police. Because they know they can't fix themselves.
No, but Wendell, just know, you are basically saying, Wendell, that somebody who has come up through the ranks of the TTPS cannot fix the TTPS.
Hello?
That's a very strong statement.
That's my study field. That's my opinion.
Yeah, we have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Martin George. How we boy?
Yeah, hi, morning.
People like to harass people. You know? Is it possible that they could remove the military from this public servant thing, so when they get in the increase in salary, they are separated? Because in that manner, we could at least have a tribunal court for the military for corrupt people. Is that possible to be done? Thank you.
I'm not sure where it fits in the context of the present discussion, but I can say certainly in terms of the army, there's a process where they can actually have their own court martials and conduct their own trials and stuff like that, and they have full control over that. So that's about as much as I could comment on the caller's question.
Yeah. I mean, there will always be some level of input if you're talking about terms and conditions, which I think is what he was talking about.
No, but he said military.
Yeah.
So that's not the police. The police is not the military.
Yeah, but even the military, they're still being paid by the public purse.
Yes.
So the terms and conditions will always come under government review, so to speak.
Yeah,
Because
in
it's
one
coming
way or the
from,
other.
it's coming from taxpayers, so you can't escape that.
Yeah.
Do we have any other callers, CJ?
Not at the moment.
Okay, because I don't know if you have any closing remarks, Martin, because we're now heading to the 8 o'clock.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, the thing is, I mean, what I would think is that maybe arising out of today's exercise, if there can be some serious discussion on us looking at some comprehensive and effective reform of the entire legislation governing this process, and I would be happy if we can give some consideration to some of the recommendations that were made in that report that we produced, so that we can all move away from this convoluted and cumbersome process. Because I'll tell you this, Richard and Wendell, in Trinidad and Tobago, it's easier to appoint a chief justice, it's easier to appoint a prime minister, it's easier to appoint a president than it is to appoint a police commissioner. And that doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Martin George, thank you so much for weighing in.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, we always appreciate speaking with you, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Have a great morning. Thanks.
Yeah, Mr. George, thank you.
Yeah, so Wendell, like you're gone, boy. No, where Wendell went? Did I kick him out? No, I didn't. Yes, I did. I kind of kicked you out there because I took you off the stage, so to speak. All right.
Yeah.
We have a minute before we go to clock news. On this Friday morning, the weekend has begun. And almost it's going to begin. No, it hasn't been. It's not going to begin. It has begun. It's Friday, so put a smile on your face And the weather seems to be holding up, at least in Arima. The weather seems to be a little clearer now. So I'm not too sure what's happening in the rest of Trinidad and Tobago. But certainly the rain is holding up here, and it seems a little brighter, and the sun is finally saying, get the hence tropical wave. So hopefully we're going to have some sunshine today as the day progresses. And, and some nice bright blue skies. But it's just about 8 o'clock on the dot. So it's time for our 8 o'clock news. And when we come back, we'll wrap up for the breakfast show on this Friday morning.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Friday, June 13th, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. An orange-level riverine flood alert remains in effect for parts of Trinidad as dangerously high river levels threaten flood-prone communities along the Caroni, Manuel Congo, and South Oropouche rivers. The Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service issued an update at 4:19 p.m. yesterday, warning that the Caroni River continues to overspill near the Tumpuna and El Carmen areas. The Manuel Congo River, which had previously declined, is rising again due to yesterday's rainfall, nearing critical levels once more. The South Oropouche River is also rising steadily, with some communities already experiencing localized flooding. The mother of a Holy Faith convent student who was savagely beaten outside the school gates on Tuesday is calling for the assailants to face the full brunt of the law. The 45-year-old woman said her daughter was kept overnight at the San Fernando General Hospital for tests, and while there were no major injuries, she is in significant pain. A 30-second video showed 5 girls from other schools beating and kicking the girl while she was on the ground. The victim's mother said her daughter wasn't the target, but was grabbed by mistake when the assailants couldn't find their intended victim. If they're going to say they are children and they are underage, they have parents, and it is time somebody is held accountable for this kind of thing, she said. Assistant Commissioner of Police Wayne Mystar called the assault a coordinated act of violence and said arrests are imminent. Police are continuing investigations after a 35-year-old man from Maloney Gardens allegedly escaped lawful custody following the recovery of a firearm early Wednesday morning. Around 1:15 a.m., officers responded to reports of an armed man at Building 10, Apartment 12 West, Maloney Gardens. When PC Wallace called on the suspect to exit a bedroom with his hands up, a sound consistent with a firearm being chambered was heard. After the suspect exited with his hands on his head, officers discovered an open bedroom window and spotted a firearm outside. When informed of his arrest, the suspect reportedly pulled away and fled the apartment. Officers later recovered a black and silver Taurus G2C 9mm firearm on the western side of the building. The Water and Sewerage Authority says water levels at all major reservoirs are currently above their long-term averages. As of today, Navit stands at 71.6% capacity, well above its long-term average of 45.7%. Arena is at 65.3% compared to an LTA of 54.6%, while Hillsborough is at 74.5% and Hollis at 80%. Nearly double its LTA of 44.3%. However, adverse weather conditions continue to affect operations at some facilities in North Trinidad, including Tompire, Matura, Quere, Guanapo, La Pastora, McDavid, and LNN, affecting areas such as Toco, Balandra, Matura, parts of Valencia, and Arima. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In business news, as Trinidad and Tobago continues to battle the Forex crunch, 2 economists are recommending that government implement a managed float in its mid-year budget review. Economist Dr. Ronald Ramkissoon and regional economist Dr. Justin Ram are advising a managed float system where the exchange rate fluctuates within a band based on demand and supply. Ramkissoon noted that Trinidad and Tobago operated a managed float successfully starting in April 1993. Ram said the country needs to look at where the market is already pricing foreign exchange and adjust accordingly, noting that people are already purchasing foreign exchange at rates as high as $10 to $1 in the open market. However, former Finance Minister Selby Wilson disagrees, saying the country is already operating under a managed float system through central bank interventions. In international news, at least 290 people are dead after a passenger plane crashed on departure at an airport in Ahmedabad, India. The Air India flight en route to London hit a hostel for doctors when it crashed, with images showing its tail protruding from the building. The death toll includes people on the plane and others on the ground. A total of 241 of the 242 people aboard the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner were killed in the crash, with a single British national passenger surviving. Boeing said it is ready to support Air India. It's the first major incident involving the aircraft type. Air India has seen a few rare but high-profile plane crashes through the years, spurring Indian authorities to improve safety and infrastructure. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. I know Sir Charles is not here today, so the Breakfast Show with Wendell and Richard continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Last call, Cipriani College, last call. RSR Productions, Married and Mischievous is on its last call at Cipriani College. The #1 comedy that has everybody talking and laughing comes to Cipriani College for a final 2 nights. Saturday the 14th of June at 8:30 p.m. and on Father's Day, Sunday the 15th of June at 6:30 p.m. Treat your dad to this comedy. Married and Mischievous at Cipriani College. Tickets available at usual outlets and at the Cipriani College box office from Monday 9th June. Don't miss this one. Adults only.
All right, so we are back in the closing minutes. How much cars you jumping into back and forth, so?
It's the same car, boy. I went out and get some breakfast, boy. Child, I went here and eat, you know. And look, yeah, about 8 doubles here eating.
Oh, you went quite New York to get doubles?
I just take a shark eating the doubles. He's a mamu, you know.
But that's just as bad, Wendell. You went quite New York to get bacon jack.
No, saltfish. I did saltfish. You know, I like my saltfish.
You went quite New York to get saltfish?
But that way he don't experiment. He like eating that food.
Whatever you call it.
And more worse and more worse.
Yeah. Everything he says is
just
Trinity core breakfast. Core Trinity
breakfast. That's exact. Either that or I do some donuts or some croissant, you know. But, and coconut water. 5 coconut water for $20. You can't get better than that.
God.
5 bottles of coconut water for $20.
You're going quite New York City and you're doing everything like if you're still in Trinidad.
Yes. don't do it like you're back home now. You know, I don't like New York, right? I keep telling you that I don't like New York. I don't like it. It is
love New York.
chaotic.
I love
People
New York.
just park up. We park in the middle of the road just now and walk and go out for breakfast, you know. You know? You know, you can do that in New York. New York.
1 second, sorry to interrupt you guys, but I just got word that unfortunately Funky Jammer just passed away.
Oh dear.
I just got news, so condolences to the family of Funky Jammer.
Wow. Okay, condolences. Andy. I know she has been ailing for a while. She was hospitalized and so on, yeah. And I was speaking with her cousin, Miss Batiste, who would message me from time to time. I say, Miss Batiste, I have a bad reputation when I go and look for people in hospital, you know. I don't like it. Then they get home, I will go and look for them. You know? Sorry to hear that.
After 6 this morning, that took place.
Oh.
I mean, that is some stunning news because Gemma has been, I mean, she is a stalwart of the breakfast show. In our previous iteration as the Power Breakfast Show, she was, I mean, as solid a fan.
She was a mother to us, eh? Gemma used to make sure we eat when we have an event, and
Gemma, every Christmas, Gemma would bring all this sort of food, and we'd have breakfast upstairs, and
yeah.
Oh Lord, you just kind of down my day there, CJ.
Yeah, that's that's tough news. I hope when I get back.
I mean, so many of our listeners would know who Gemma is. Gemma is a regular. I mean, maybe we should open up the lines a little bit before we sign off.
Yeah, we could.
I mean, our condolences. The lines are open 281-1315. I mean, our condolences to the family, but it's kind of like condolences to us.
Yeah.
And to the breakfast show community too, because she has been a part of the breakfast show in its previous form, certainly for years and years and years. She's been one of our greatest supporters.
Yeah.
Miss Susan, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning. And to the family of Miss Gemma, condolences. I know that is not an easy thing to deal with, losing a loved one. So from all of us, the NETT family, to the family, condolences. And to Richard, Wendell, and Sir Charles, happy Father's Day greetings to you all. And you all have a blessed day, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Suzette and Miss Gemma.
Yeah. Gemma, of course, too, was a stalwart in Samaru village where she lived.
Yes.
I've been by Gemma a few times, you know.
And her laugh, I could hear her laugh.
Yeah. She used to, Gemma would say nothing and just start laughing when she called in.
Yeah,
Hi, morning. Morning, CJ.
Morning.
Hi, this is Babity again. I want to send condolences to Funky Gemma. And I mean, I just love to hear, and I love to hear her laugh, you know? So condolences to the family, and it's, you know, it's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day. Thanks.
Yeah.
Call it morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I would like to send condolences to my good friend, Funky Gemma. We go way back. When I used to go to the DJ party, we were for friendship with DJ Gabby. Yeah?
Yeah, that was us.
Yeah. And when they have a project stay up in New York, boy.
Yeah, this I see Bruce Bar want to know where I get bacon and saltfish from. Well, the place have bacon shack too, that all kind of thing. What place is that? Trinity. A place called Trinity.
On Australia, they used to sell bacon shack and the breakfast in Trinidad that she came back home. Yeah? Anyhow, I don't want to take
All right, Mr. Grant. Yeah.
Condolence to the Gemma family and all the best. Happy Father's Day to your crew.
Yes. Happy Father's Day to you too, Mr. Grant.
All right, brother.
All right.
Take care. Gemma has been battling with illness for a while. She really battled for a long time. You know?
That was...
Yeah.
That is like a sudden slap everybody get it.
Yeah.
So,
It got me very quiet.
Yeah, I do. You had to buff up Daddy for that one. That is super nice.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, we're just about 8:15, so of course we dedicate this show as we close off for the weekend to our dearest Gemma. Gave so much.
And we'll certainly when we come back on Monday, we'll do something special for her on air. We'll have some tributes, spend a little time talking about Gemma on Monday, God willing, because it just so happens we got the news at the very end of the show, you know. So maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so of course, New Era TT Radio continues after this. You can go to TuneIn and listen to us on your smart devices, or listen to the stream on the net, newerattradio.com and New Era TT Radio on TuneIn. And of course, this has been the Breakfast Show. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever you do. Remember, theater is on. Married and Mischievous is on Saturday at 8:30, Sunday at 6:30 at Cipriani College. Get your tickets early. Trust me on this. You can check RSRR Productions on theater, RSRR Productions Theater on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Any information that you wish to have. But get your tickets early. Tickets available at K-Squared Fashions, Eastgate, West Mall, and Brentwood Mall, Electronics, Arima, Jabili Rawe, Tunapuna, Antoni's Flores Val Park, and Champlain Auto Services. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend, whatever you do. Hopefully the weather is now past us, the bad weather. I mean, it's certainly holding up in Arima, and hopefully that's true for across the country. Have a great day, whatever you decide to do.
Yeah, folks, have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Yes, it is. Happy Father's Day.
And let's try to cheer up, folks. Try to cheer up, especially for those of you who knew Gemma and knew how close we were with her. Try to cheer up. Just remember the good in her. She was one of Trinidad and Tobago's, I think, first female DJ and in Trinidad and Tobago. Funky Gemma, aka Funky Gemma, aka Gemma, Rest in peace, Gemma. Take care.
Yeah, rest in peace, Gemma, darling.
Nice. And of course, from me to you guys, wishing you guys happy Father's Day. Wishing my daddy happy Father's Day.
Good job today, young Charles. Good job today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, CJ, and filling in.
No problem. I'll try to do it more often.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a radio voice. I don't know if anybody ever told you that, but you do.
I did hear before. I thought it was Mamagism.
No. You do have a radio voice. You do have a voice for radio.
All right. So it's just a perfect.
All right. Yeah, but take care.
All right. Have a great weekend, people. And this has been The Breakfast Show.
Yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The Breakfast Show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah.